Well, if you want to have an indomitable mindset, hello, this is Roger Weston. We have a great one for you today. We're out in a remote location. Take a look around at where we're at here. If you want to have an indomitable mindset, you want to keep in mind Robert Blake's law of the contraries. You know, we have to understand the contraries because we live in, obviously we're facing adversity at all times. If we're on the right trail, sometimes we're facing all kinds of adversity, which could be mental, physical, circumstantial, all kinds of adversity simultaneously. You overcome one hurdle, it's like a course, a race course, where you overcome one hurdle, the horse jumps one barrier in order to get to the next and the next. The obstacles aren't put in the course in order to frustrate the horse. They're in there in order to compete and to make the horse stronger through training and overcoming and rising up to the challenge. And essentially that's how I think we need to look at our own path as we're going along, assaulted from various angles unexpectedly, most unfortunately, painfully. We're knocked down, and of course we get back up and go on, but we don't want to do the exact same thing. Otherwise, we haven't passed the test. It's like this. There's levels, like a video game. There's levels. We have to pass. Once we get through one level, we don't have to succeed in that level. But once we get through one level, we move on to the next level. So even though we fail, we don't want to we don't want to repeat the same failing strategy over and over again, unless we're performing on a much higher level, and that was the cause of the failure. But often it's just strategic. So to have an indomitable mindset, failure is part of the game. We have to fail and fail and fail and overcome and overcome and overcome. And we get up, wipe off the blood, put on some bandages, and go on. And that's what we do when we're in the wilds and we're in the wilds and we fall and break a leg or an ankle. What do? You're out in the middle of nowhere, miles from anywhere. And then suddenly you have a broken ankle. Well, the first thing you do, of course, is you make a plan, and you pretty much gonna have to start crawling back or limping back. And if it's 20 miles to get out, it's gonna be a long limp. And there's gonna be a lot of falls along the way. There's gonna be rivers to cross, valleys to get through, brambles that are gonna cut us and leave us bloody. And so we have to persevere. But the beauty of that situation is we have no choice. We know it's getting late in the day. It's getting late in the day. And if we don't get out of here, we're in big trouble. So we're going to have to struggle up that hill. And we're going to have to struggle across that river. Struggle through the deep snow. Bind up that leg with sticks and an extra garment perhaps. And keep going. And when we can't get across that river one way, we're going to have to try another way, and another way, and another way. Until we get across, blinded, bloody. We get across it exhausted, bandaged and bloodied, and maybe with new broken ribs. We just keep going, but we're gonna have to adjust. You can't go on the same way with broken ribs and broken ankles, so you're gonna have to move differently. And that's what we do. And the law of nature is that only the strong survive. And oftentimes the weak are actually the strong, and the strong are the weak. Now you don't typically see that in herd animals. With them it's, you know, the lion picks out the straggler of the wildebeest, and the weak one, the slow one. But with people it's different. Oftentimes it's the physically strong obviously are not always the strongest, because oftentimes we don't know what's going on in their psychology. Do they have an indomitable mindset? Do they know how to adapt? Do they have the strategies? I spent 10 years learning the strategies, reading, really analyzing 2,000 biographies to learn the strategies that had helped people overcome adversity throughout different centuries in all different fields. And you can't go, it's of limited value in many cases to get this is what happens. There you go. Come on, you can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can make it. Come on. You can do it. Let's go. Let's go. Come on now. There you go. There you go. If we take one advice from someone in a different field, that can be very useful, but it can also not be useful. It just depends on whether we can adapt and whether it's relevant. But what I've done is I studied across all fields, not all fields, many fields, of how to overcome adversity, the most extreme adversities that defeat most, but how did